Hey, everybody. That is Gary Smith.
Hello there.
That is Kaz Kenny.
Kapow!
And I am Eddie Bramble, and this is episode 59 of the Blackwater's Edge podcast.
One more, and we're the big 6-0, baby.
That's almost
crazy.
crazy.
Would that be considered a senior podcast?
Do we get a senior discount?
Yeah, right.
All right, guys, start us off with this week's fishing report.
Well, it's been, I don't know, we have no water, so.
My goodness.
Let's talk a little bit about what's happened over the last week. Leroy had that fundraiser down here.
Oh, that was great, yeah.
That little event for the kids and stuff over at Blackwater Paddle Sports with Matt, and that was pretty successful from what I hear from you guys.
Yeah, had a good turnout. A lot of kids showed up, caught plenty of catfish.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was just weather was rough. The wind was blowing. The rain came through a little bit. And
they had an accident up the road.
Oh, that's right.
Accident, but some kind of
a shootout or something. I don't know. It's crazy.
We'll call it a police activity around the Bay Bridge.
Stuff that they do up that way.
Yeah. And it kept a lot of people from coming down. But we still had plenty of turnout, and it was still a good time for sure.
And I believe Outdoors or Delmarva Outdoors was back again.
Yes.
Outdoors Delmarva.
Delmarva Outdoors was there, and they're. I think it's coming this Saturday, I believe, 7:30.
This Saturday, 7:30 it'll be on.
Yep. So
on Channel 16.
So we know that we had a lot of kids out there. You guys got a chance to talk to the kids a little bit about education. I heard you guys really did a great job. I wasn't there because of Mother's Day holiday and the crowds kind of got crazy. We all know what happened there, but I understand that you guys really captivated the kids and kind of. Yeah. Told them they were going to have a little test or something afterwards, and they were all paying attention very good. So tell me a little about it, Gary. How was it with the kids? I mean,
it's too early for tomatoes. So nobody chunked anything.
Yeah, that's right. No, we had a good time. The kids, I mean, they really paid attention when we were explaining the negative effects that snakeheads have had on the waterways, and they really were tuned in. And it was a struggle for me. I've never really spoken to kids like that before, and I would think I was more nervous speaking to those kids than I have been on any episode of this podcast.
I don't think you give yourself enough credit, Eddie. You're a pretty good dad, and I see how you are with your kids. And
I appreciate that.
I think that there's no doubt that you did a good job. I'm sure. So
I appreciate that.
That one little boy, William.
Oh,
he
my
was
goodness.
burning them up.
So little Willie, I love little Willie. Brandy, make sure little Willie sees this. So little Willie, when we first started the Bait Boyz and stuff, you had to have a Bait Boyz hat. Damien gave him one of those. So I think little Willie, you're going to see him. He's going to turn out to be something special around here. I do believe that.
Serious fisherman. When he caught he filled one side of the chalkboard up there, having more room for all the fish.
They had the dry race board. I think. The rest of the kids were having fun. They're catching one or two here, but William, he had the entire side just loaded up.
He had a carp, he had a
catfish,
and a bluegill.
He had a big bluegill. That was a nice one.
Big bluegill, big carp.
Yeah.
So just so you know, Brandy, she's such a good mom. I'm telling you what, she reminds me a lot about how my mom was. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a picture of little Willie yesterday doing some fishing, and he got some new lip grippers and wanted to try them out. So he wanted to try them out on the crappie, and his mom was like, he wants to try lip grippers on the crappie. I said, sounds legit to me. Let him do it. You know what I mean? So this little guy,
he's a fishing fool.
That was him on the way home from the kids thing this weekend, Leroy. Just so you know, so you guys were the kids out. That's for sure.
He should have been worn out. As many fish as he
real
caught.
fatigue.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I don't know if you can see that there, but there's a little bit of that leaderboard. Let me blow it up a little bit.
Yeah,
so we'll say here.
One side was all him.
Yeah. So here's William here. He had Brody had a 19 and a 1/4-inch carp, a 13-inch catfish, 3 3/4 ounce perch. Caleb, he had a 13.1 pound, 5 ounce catfish. That's a nice catfish. 15.5-inch catfish and a 12 3/4-inch catfish. William had a 20-inch carp, an 18-inch 3-pound catfish, or almost 4 pounds, and a 13-inch catfish, and a 22-inch 3.12 catfish. Damn, Willie, you set it on fire, didn't you? Nathan, he had a 18-inch 3-pound catfish and a 16-inch catfish. Grace, she had 22-inch 3-pound catfish, 19.5-inch 4-pound catfish. That's pretty weird. 22 inches was smaller than 19.5. Somebody was eating really good. Little Jaden, that's Wayne's grandkids. Mm-hmm. He got 11-ounce, 11-inch perch. That's a nice perch there.
Yeah, he actually caught that right next to Gary and I. Is
that right?
Yeah.
One of the kids caught what was like a 2-foot rockfish. He got off right at the bank.
He got it right to the bank and then got off right at the end there.
Miranda, she had a 17-inch 2-pound 9-ounce catfish, a 16.5-inch catfish, a 14-inch catfish. Nice job, Miranda. Andrew had a 14-inch eel. That's a good eel. I'd eat that. Hope you ate it. So it looks like here the smallest fish was William. He had a 6-inch perch, 5.5-inch perch. The slimiest was the American eel. So that would be Andrew, it looks like. And then the biggest in length was Willie. You know, he had the 3 pound, 22-inch, 22-inch for Grace, and then a 20-inch for William, and then a 19.5-inch for Grace, and a 19.5-inch for Brody. So that was the biggest in the length. And then weight-wise, you had Grace. She had first place with 4.1 pounds, and little Willie had 3 pound 12 ounces on his catfish, I would suppose. So that was a great job with all them kids out there.
Absolutely.
You know, I want to hats off to Leroy for putting that thing together.
That was a great event.
Stand-up thing to do for sure. And let's see.
Anybody coming down going catfishing this weekend?
The one that got away. So that's the Caleb you were
that's
talking
the
about. So that was
rockfish.
the striper. You know, that's the one that got away. So
And that was a hog too.
yeah.
If you're coming down catfishing this weekend, you probably want to try another bridge. They burned them up.
Either that, or you might catch some more snakeheads now the catfish are pulled out. Who knows? You know. So, our biggest thing right now is we have no water. You know, so that's as far as the fishing report goes. You know, I mean, I wish I had some extravagant report to give, but
if you can put it in perspective, we haven't had snakehead here to sell at the store since before the tournament because the water's just been washed out ever since then. It's the winds changed and blew all the water out, and it's been tough.
And it hasn't
to
just
find
hurt the
anything.
snakeheads; it's hurting
It's
the crabs
everything.
too. You know,
can't
I mean,
find it. Crabs, snakeheads.
Yeah.
I mean, anything. It's hard to find right now in the Blackwater system for sure.
I do know we were talking about blue cats. You know, they seem to be pulling out of the creeks now and getting back out in the main stems of the river. So if you want to chase some blue cats, you know, maybe check down in the Nanticoke, check up in the Chop Tank up there around Dover Bridge. I mean, there's some few still being caught at the El Dorado over in the Marshy Hope, so you might want to check that out over there. I hear of a few blue cats being caught down in what's the area? It's the next county over, not Mardella Springs. What's the one next to Mardella Springs?
Wycomico?
It's in Wycomico County, but I'm trying to think of the
Hebron?
river. Yeah, it might be Hebron down that way.
Next creek?
I don't know, but one of them creeks down there, they're catching a lot of snakeheads. What he was telling me, and they're seeing a few blue cats still in that little place, wherever that was. I can't remember where it was. Below Athol Road somewhere. That's all I know. I can't remember. Either way, I mean, there's fish everywhere moving around. Bluegills are going to start getting on beds here where they are at. You know, you'll see that happening. A lot of crappie are already, you know, paired up, spawned on the bed. So, you don't know what you're seeing in your pond. You seen anything there yet happening?
They're making their beds, but there's nothing, no funny stuff going on.
No videos yet?
No.
No fish porn?
No.
I mean, that's really all I got. I mean, here in the refuge, it's snakeheads. I mean, the guys that are putting in time, that are finding the fish. I know last week, you know, Kyle, he come down, put time in the afternoon. He found fish. You know, if you put time in and listen to what Tom said, you know, on the last podcast, you know, if you can find deeper water and you can get access to it, then you can probably find some fish to catch. You know what I mean? The biggest problem is there's just no water. So
it's going to take a lot of patience and a lot of perseverance.
It's cool. I mean, I'll give you an example. My
tonight's supposed to be 38 degrees, I think. I think that's what I saw.
koi in my pond, usually by now, they spend the whole day up on top of the water. They were up a couple of weeks ago. They're down, and we haven't seen them. I thought something got in there and got them all, but it's too many of them for that. We have not seen a koi in there in a week.
I'm sure they haven't gone anywhere.
I think a lot of things people need to remember is, like you said, it's so cool right now. I mean, we're in May, middle of May, and it feels like it's March weather still.
Yeah,
So summer has not started yet. Last year, summer had started before April even started. I mean, end of March, we were talking summer weather, and it carried on all the way through the hunting season.
I mean, last night I think we're down like 40, 38, something like that in some places. Tonight we're going to stay
cool
in,
again.
Tonight we're going to stay in the 50s, and that's kind of what you really need to make things kind of come together here is 50-degree nights. You know, I always say that with spawning and with crabs and things like that. You know, we need those 50-degree nights to keep the water temp up. When it gets below that, it drops too fast, and it's really confusing. It's like me taking Gary out of an oven and putting him into the fridge. It's going to shock him a little bit. It's going to take time for him to adjust to get back to normal. You know
That'd
what I
shock
mean?
anybody going from the oven to the fridge. So.
Right. So, I don't know. I mean, it's just all about putting time in and finding fish. You know, you look on the page and there's a couple guys have been making, hey, I scouted this area. Hey, I went and looked on my map and look what I found. You know what I mean? I think the more guys that are doing homework, the more guys that are, you know, if I'm catching fish here in the Chester River, what around here, you know, is there for me to focus on where these fish in this area may go to? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like you look up at Sassafras, look up in the Bohemian, places like that. You'd be surprised what's up there. You know, I stopped on the 301 corridor and looked at some places, you know, driving down last week. And I was surprised at how many fish I saw at these bridge areas just swimming, you know, in open water. So I know they're up there. I've talked to some guys that, you know, have seen some up around red bridges, you know, and stuff like that. So Y Mills, the spillway there, they're still catching quite a few there. I mean, that's a pretty kind of reliable spot, like if, there's always going to be some kind of water there, and there's always going to be some kind of a food source there. So, spillways, places like that, I mean, that's places I'd be looking right now. I'm looking for places got a little bit more oxygen, a little bit more current flow, a little bit more stability. And I think that you're going to find that in an area like that.
What's weather looking like this weekend?
The weekend looks beautiful. It's supposed to be 73 on Saturday, and
That's
then I think 69 on Sunday. Then I think we got some rain coming back on Monday, I think. But as far as the weekend goes, I think that if we can get some water back in here,
changes
I'm
everything.
going to put it out there. I mean, if we get some water back in here, I think you're going to see a couple people some 100-fish days. Serious. I
I was
mean,
getting ready to call Danny Gamble up here and get his tanker down there and put some in the black. Water boy, we need you.
well, I mean, you've seen it yourself, Gary. When that water drops like this, it pulls these fish out of these branches. And
it's been out. It came back for a couple of days, and it's just been out the whole time, man. I've not seen it like this.
It's been a real weird year this year. Just, I mean, for the tides, for weather. I mean, there's been no consistency, so to say.
We're having some spring. We don't usually get it.
Yeah, it's an extended spring. It's the first extended spring we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
So,
other than that, that's what I got on the fishing report, man. I mean, there's a few big bass being caught. I've seen some pictures of them, so that's good to see. I know some guys in the Upper Bay. I'll talk a little bit about that. Up in Joppatown, that would be a place that I would go and look for some fish. You know what I'm saying? So, Mariner Point Park.
Wicomico County's tearing them up too right now over in Salisbury.
We're going to talk about that today. We got a really good guy here who's going to talk to us about some of that stuff.
You're stealing my segue, man.
Go ahead.
That's where I was going with it.
Get it done.
So this week we've got Gene Cecil on. Gene, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking me on.
Yeah, man. Great to have you here. So for those who don't know you, why don't you just give a quick background about yourself?
From Salisbury, live in Salisbury now. Electronics manufacturing is what I do for a living. And I'm been in bass clubs for about 30 years. I'm in Nanticoke Bass Club right now. And just I like skinny water, backwaters. Yeah, just enjoy fishing.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So you say you're in electronics manufacturing. How'd you get into that?
With that, I rode my BMX bike into a garage of a friend of mine. And his father was working out of his garage at the time. And I asked him about it. He told me, no, you don't want to do that. Everything's got to be perfect. And kind of just went from there, and I've been in it since 85.
So did I hear you right? You crashed your motorcycle into somebody's house?
Rode
it into somebody's house, and this is how you became an electrical engineer.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. I've hit a lot of people, but that's nothing like that's ever happened to me when I did that. I always got in trouble. No, I'm just kidding. That's pretty cool. So what do you do? Like you said, you design stuff. So building.
I build or tune to certain frequencies, and we just for electronics, like communications and different systems.
And you said it was your BMX bike?
That's what got me into it.
And so did you skateboard a little bit too? It sounds like man after Kaz's own heart.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. That was gonna be my next question. I hear about a dirt bike. It sounds like you were a little young and crazy. How about a skateboard? A skateboard anywhere in that picture?
Yeah, we had the Fruitland ramp. That was one of the first big
Fruitland ramp. How about that?
Yeah, 16 foot wide, 10 feet on one side, 8 feet on the other.
Wow.
We made our own pool coping out of
PVC.
High strength concrete.
Oh, okay.
And still got two pieces left that are on my edge of my mother's flower bed.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the only thing of the ramp that's left.
Wow.
You're a man after Kaz's own heart.
So how long did you skate for? A couple years? Or were you pretty hardcore into it, or what?
Yeah, from probably like 75 to I went in when they redid the Ocean City skate park. I went there in like 2003, something like that.
So you're talking about the 70s. So you're talking about banana boards and skinny boards and
plastic boards with wheels that had ball bearings in them.
Yeah. That when they went bad, it sounded like you were grinding like you do in a car with bad brakes. You know what I mean? And if you were unlucky, they might lock up and stop your skateboard, and you might go forward without it. You know what I mean?
I wasn't quite in the clay wheel era, but
I know that my brother was talking to him. I think it was called a Bel Air was the name of the board that he had back in the 70s, and he had lip balm wheels on it or something like that. Them old boards, them old banana boards. Like when I got into it, it was a fat board. You know what I mean? We were riding a board that was 10 to 12 inches wide. Versus 4 inches. That's a big difference.
I was in a transition, but we didn't have the money, or back then there weren't the places around here to buy them. So we made our own. So we
Right.
looked in Skateboarder magazine, and we copied something, and then we made it.
Right to spec.
So I've
The
still got-
original ones were made from like roller skating
Yes.
skates.
Yes.
They had the
yes.
hard rubber tires, and you said the ball bearing wheels.
It's funny you say that, because when we were cleaning out my grandfather's place, no lie, I thought it was like a cart to like go under something, and no, it was a skateboard. It was an old skateboard with exactly what you just said. The front and back wheels off of a pair of roller skates, put on this piece of wood, and I guess that's what they were. I guess that's what it was, unless it was like a creeper or something you go under a car with. You know what I'm saying? But it was too skinny for that. You know. So, but yeah. So, the electronics thing. You're designing stuff, or
No,
Manufacturing.
just building and tuning.
okay? So when you say tuning, people out there are probably saying, "Well, what is he tuning? What is this all involved with?" So are we talking about computers? Are we talking about radio, switchboards?
No, it's just a part that is manipulated to a frequency per the customer specification.
And that part is used for.
Whatever they want.
Communications and a lot of applications.
He's gonna keep asking till you have to kill him.
Well, no. Well, that's what I was going to say. This sounds like a top secret thing going on here. Maybe I should just get away from this question. You know what I'm saying? So, you're not the guy developing all this stuff that's going to Russia, are you? Just kidding. So we know you like fishing, like bass fishing, do a lot of that. Growing up as a kid, I mean, what got you into fishing? Let's talk about. We always ask this question.
That's right.
What got you fired up and what got you going with fishing? I mean, was it a bluegill like everybody else? Was it when you were a kid? I mean, what's the first trip you can remember? What's the first kind of you felt the addiction? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I grew up in a neighborhood in Fruitland, and we were not far walk from Riverside Drive, where the Tony Tank spills into the Wacomico, and we beat a path. And there was the four of us, we hung tight with doing everything, and fishing was one of those big things. Well, back then, I mean, we would watch Virgil Ward, and the old beetle spinners.
Wow. Yeah.
We were using Mann's jelly worms.
Yes.
And Fred
The old
Arbogast.
purple jelly worms.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Fred Arbogast, the hula popper and the jitterbug.
Yeah.
And we we'll walk Camden Avenue, Tony Tank, and we would just beat trails to those places. And I have a picture, my first probably 2-pounder from the spillway on Camden Avenue, on a yellow rooster tail, with a Shakespeare rod and a Mitchell 308, and that rod was a buggy whip. I mean, it was a fiberglass buggy whip.
So you
Mitchell,
you just set some serious bells off in my head with just those few lures that you just mentioned. I mean, I remember the hula popper, the jitterbug. At nighttime, I remember going to ponds and people saying, "Use a black jitterbug, man, at night and watch what happens." So that first fish kind of got you bit with bass, as far as that goes. Is that what you wanted to go after from that day, or?
Yeah, and then my friend, my dad met a friend of his through work, and he had a pond that was like a borrow pit from Route 50, which I've still fished it to today. And he bought one of the Ward Sea King John boats, and we had that forever, and we'd go out in it.
Monkey Wars.
And go out there and use a rattle trap was the great bait for out there. So I could fish with my father, and I could fish with my best friends.
I'll tell you what, when they came out with the rattle trap, that was like a really, really breakthrough on the fishing scene. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I got my first rattle trap and casted that thing a mile out and started cranking that thing, and you could hear that thing rattling way out there, and you could feel that vibration in your rod. You know what I mean?
You could feel it through the aluminum boat.
Yes.
It would magnify the sound.
Yes. So I know you fish a lot down in Salisbury, a lot down in on the Nanticoke. What have you seen kind of happen to the fishery in that area? I mean, I know we want to talk to guys firsthand because you guys are seeing what we don't see. You know what I mean? And you being a local angler and you being in the spotlight down there like you kind of are, I'm just wondering, are you guys seeing any difference in the fishery since the snakeheads have shown up? And if so, or if not, what are you seeing or not seeing?
Well, one thing is a lot of times when you see a lot of big menopods, I see that less frequently. and when I'm fishing in those rivers, like the Wacomico or the Pocomoke, and the Pocomoke, now they're getting some up in Hasawanga Creek.
Yeah, that's what we heard.
And, they're up by the pipe. And, they're not as prevalent down there as they are in the Wacomico, which the Wacomico's had its pollution problems. And then you add snakeheads on top of that. And it's just a tough fishery. Just you don't catch as many of the small fish like you guys have talked about in recent podcasts, other places. Now, when I first started fishing,
let me just interrupt you for 1 second.
Yeah,
so
sure.
on the river where you're fishing, what is an average bag win in a tournament? 15 pounds, 20 pounds? What do you guys see down there?
Wacomico, some days you come in with 5 to 6 pounds to win. When that used to be, a really good big fish river. But it's just the numbers are down. You fish a lot longer in some of those places for less fish.
You know what I have been thinking about, Gary
I'm
and
scared
Eddie?
to ask.
I know. Like these guys in the bass clubs, this is something I don't think anybody's really thought about. Why not go back and look at the previous years of tournament documentation and see what the difference is in the numbers of what's being weighed in through the tournaments? You know what I mean? Because then you might be able to find something there.
A correlation.
It'll
Yeah.
give you numbers, but it won't give you proof.
Right. Yeah, because in science, correlation does not equal causation.
You need
So-
gut sampling.
Yeah,
You could have better anglers one year than the next.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a good thought though. I mean, it's definitely something to watch for and maybe
I-
look
Well,
at. in
it's
the future.
another indicator. That's
Right.
for sure.
I've been sitting around looking at things other than what's in printed material. You know what I mean? And stuff outside the box like that. You know what I'm saying? Like what are people seeing in those areas? And if we could like look at numbers from previous years and use them in correlation, you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
Right.
But you're right. I guess that's not really a factual analysis, I guess.
Well,
to
it's
say,
like
you know.
Gary said, it's a good indicator, but it's not something you can nail concrete. This is
Yeah,
the reason.
One thing for me, I mean, I'd like to see the science because it would be really nice to know, but I can't wait for the science. I mean, I don't hear anybody saying there's a shortage of snakeheads. I went here last year and caught 50 and only caught 42 today.
Yeah,
I don't hear anybody saying that. So
Yeah.
until I hear them say that, I'm gonna keep right on catching them.
it happens occasionally depending on the weather, but overall, there's really no decline. There is now. I will say this: you do see a little bit of decline in areas that are heavily bow fished. That's the only areas where you ever see anybody make any difference in the population.
And the fish haven't got smart.
I kind of
haven't
agree with you on
smartened
that,
up
too.
to it yet, but it'll come.
Well, I mean, it's hard for them to adapt to that because bow fishing is
Like-
done exactly. It's
Light's
nighttime.
going to tell you, look at deer.
Exactly.
50 years ago, you could blow a deer away in a heartbeat, shining a light out in the field. Do it now, you ride down the road, stop the car, and they're gone.
That's true.
Yeah.
And broad daylight, more or less at night.
You know what I've been thinking about, is looking at your fishing. When did you catch your first snakehead? Do you remember?
Probably on the chick.
The chick. Do you remember what year that was?
Maybe 2013.
Oh wow! So you've been catching snakeheads for a while. I didn't realize it'd been
Yeah.
that long.
Yeah.
Now down in Salisbury, because I've talked to a lot of people there, and some people I know what's there, and then you got other guys that'll come in there and they'll say, it's not true, and we know why they're saying that. They just want to try to keep you away from the spot, and that's fine. What have you seen, like numbers wise? If you think about like what you caught down there in your club tournament 3 years ago, like how many snakeheads were you seeing 3 years ago in your tournament as opposed to this year? I mean, have you seen those numbers really, really incline in the clubs?
I'm sure that they have. I only can tell by our small club.
Okay.
And when guys come in, they'll catch 4 or 5 fairly decent ones every tournament.
So, is it fair to say that you're catching more bass than snakeheads, more snakeheads than bass, or about an average equal of both, or
More bass than snake.
more bass than snakeheads? So you're still seeing more of that in the tournament.
In your tournaments, do you have a snakehead category?
No.
That might be something to look into in the future. just throwing it out there for you guys. Now, I have this question for you. So you've been catching snakeheads since 2013?
14, somewhere in that
Yes,
range.
or in that range anyway. But so what was your original opinion on snakeheads when you first started catching them? Did you already have a preconceived notion about them, or was that something that you found out about after you caught one, or how did that go for you?
Well, I mean, I was just disappointed that somebody would release those so that they could, mess up the estuary. Right. But the thing was, they're ugly.
So, but you knew what snakeheads were capable of before you caught one. You already had.
Yeah, I'd seen information.
That's what I was wondering. So I was curious if you hadn't seen one, or if you didn't know about them before you caught one, if your opinion over the years had changed or anything like that. But you already knew about them beforehand.
Yeah, like for me, like I'm wearing the shirt right here, so I got a chance to do some of the Crofton work that was going on down there when they were poisoning the pond. And
I had heard you say that before. Yeah.
I guess my question is, down there where you're fishing, I know you say you're seeing the numbers come up. When you guys are in the tournament, how big are the snakeheads that you guys are catching now versus like what you caught a couple years ago? I mean, you've seen a bigger class of fish now down in the Nanticoke and down in those areas. What I'm hearing down there from guys like, they're telling me that like up in the estuaries and the shallower areas is where the snakeheads are more prevalent at in those shallower waters. Yeah. So I would probably suspect that you're probably not going to catch as many snakeheads in a bass tournament because you're not targeting that area of water where they really prefer to be. You know what I'm saying?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out how to word my question.
Are they bigger now than they were then?
Well, we know they're bigger than they were then, but I mean, like numbers wise, like how would you describe the numbers of snakeheads that you catch today versus what you caught in 2013 in those areas that you fish in your tournaments?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was like substantial, but I mean, because we're still not catching like 20 and 30 in a tournament. But, it does seem like that number is creeping up.
Now, there's other areas in Salisbury that I've been talking to some people about. You mentioned one of those, Tony Tank. Okay, some of those other areas.
I've heard people catching them in there, yeah.
And the zoo, I mean, I've heard some stuff at the zoo. They've got some there in that pond there and some other places. It seems like they're showing up in a lot of ponds around Salisbury.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think people may be, planting them there so that they can catch them.
So that was what I was going to ask, because I've heard a lot of people saying that they're finding them in a lot of ponds down there. Yeah. And I was going to ask, do you guys have the flooding problems that we have here? Like, is there flooding that would put fish from another creek into Tony Tank through a wooded area if it flooded out? But I don't think you guys have anything like that there, do you?
Absolutely, it could happen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. At the bridge on Riverside, it will go up that high. And if you're talking like in by the zoo, Beaver Dam Creek, the spillway by Snow Hill Road, that will go up. Now they put a new bridge up, before the zoo, but I haven't really seen where that goes during a storm, high water.
The thing I like about Salisbury is there's a lot of these little pocket ponds, I call them, situated all over the place. And if you look around, you'll find these places. And I'm not going to give them up because I know a lot of people really respect these places, and I do too, and I don't want to see them get overrun too bad. But there's a lot of little, I call them nooks and crannies in Salisbury and down that area.
They're borrow pits.
Yeah. So, and I think that some of these guys, that's what I'm asking about, because a lot of these guys that are fishing those burrow pits that you're talking about and things like that, that's where they're saying they're seeing these fish show up. So my question I was trying to figure out from you, being that I'm not from the area and that is your area, is, like here, we have Blackwater here, we've got the Transquaken over here, and then we've got all this area in between that. So if it was to flood in Salisbury, can those fish move like those fish do here? I guess is kind of my question. Is there other streams that a flood could put those fish from, say, the Tony Tank into this stream, which feeds another area?
Only in certain areas.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Some that just physically, it's too high to get to it.
There's still animal transference.
Yeah.
Birds, turtles,
Yeah, absolutely.
whatever else.
It's not quite the same
Level.
Well, I mean, here in the Blackwater system, every river here is basically connected some way or another.
Well, they all run out to Fishing Bay.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean.
If it gets in, if it gets to Fishing Bay, it's got 5 choices where to go.
And not just like and like you're saying, like when Fishing Bay backs up and Maple Dam gets covered and Griffith's Neck and all the places get covered over.
Up. All it's got to do is get in one river, and it goes right out and goes into the rest of the rivers because they all come out of Fishing Bay. Nanticoke, Wicomico, Transquaken, and Blackwater all feed right directly into Fishing Bay. So if one thing gets in one river and it goes out to Fishing Bay and can tolerate the salt long enough to get into the next rigger. It's just like your palm of your hand is fishing bay and your fingers are the rivers.
Exactly.
See, I was looking at a lot of those ponds down there, and I think the reason I'm asking that question is because I look at them on the map, and you got one here, you got one here, you got one here, you got one here, and then you got one river that's like in here. You know what I'm saying?
But just take a heron, for instance. There's a heron. There's 3 ponds there's one within 300 feet of my house. There's another one about another 700 feet from that pond. There's 2 across the road, and there's a half a dozen ponds within a mile of my house. And you can watch the heron. When he leaves my house, he flies right over and he goes right over to Dave and Ann's and back of me. And then he'll come back and he'll hit Ricky's pond. He goes across the road. You know, they've got their little circuit that they go to. So if there's snakeheads in one of those ponds, he gets eggs on his feet.
They're going to be in all those ponds.
They're going to be in all those ponds. It's just a matter, if he wash off in the first pond, and as soon as they get in there, he's going to transfer them to the next pond.
And see that's kind of what I was asking, because those ponds, looking at them, they're not very far away from one another.
Exactly.
So that's why I was asking the question of whether or not are they moving the fish to these pockets?
I think it's birds as much as anything else, because I don't have them in my pond.
Right.
If I had birds in my pond, I'd have snakeheads. I'm positive of it. Why would everybody else around me have them and I don't?
Right.
And I don't have the birds, so I don't have the problem.
And see, and that's why I'm asking the question, because if the ponds are that close together, and the creeks and all the water there, and a heron would be to like get out of Tony Tank and fly over to the zoo or something like that. You know, I don't know how far apart they are, but you know, I mean, I think that's probably a lot of it. More than probably people moving them, you know what I mean?
I think they get transferred a lot more than we think by
natural occurrence, yeah.
And turtles and everything else.
Exactly.
And raccoons, whatever. They get, otters even. They all go from pond to pond to pond.
So Gene, you're a big lure fisherman, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much just throw lures, right? Before we do that, let's give away something. Before we talk about your favorite lures, let's give away something. Gary, why don't you reach in the grab bag and let's give away something to someone. We got a lot of good stuff to give away this weekend. This week,
wait a minute.
you guys.
Never mind.
What is that, dude?
That's wrong bag.
That's Kaz's trash bag. Don't touch that.
Let's see what we got here. Oh, there we go. Ooh,
Oh, look at that. That's something from Leroy.
That's a nice present from Leroy.
Now, look. We know I don't want to like ruin everything later in the podcast. We know we're starting the snakeheadclub.com.
Yep. Now, is that, Gary, is that the adult shirt or is that the kid's shirt?
It is.
Oh, Gary needs his glasses.
Yeah,
Here, let me see. I got it. It is
it's not a senior
it's
shirt.
2XL. 2XL.
That's the adult 2X.
Yeah.
That one's for an adult.
I know it's not a senior. It'd have bigger letters.
For this one, I'm gonna do this one for you. Okay, so they have to say, "Let's go Orioles."
Let's go O's.
And you can win that.
Is it O's or Orioles? You got to be specific.
Orioles.
Orioles. Let's
Orioles.
go
Put it in there, man. Make you work for it, right?
Okay.
Let's give away something else, Gary. What else you got in that bag? Anything else in there we can give away? I know you got something else in there. Come on.
Got me something down here. What? There you go. Hey. CCA.
Oh, there's a legit tape measure, so nobody can lie about the fish that they're catching. So, fish tails. How about that? Fish tails.
Fish tails. I like that one.
Fish tails. Fish tails in the comment. You can get that measuring tape there, that self-stick-on tape. You can put that on your boat, your cooler, somewhere like that, so you don't get a fine for an undersized fish. Gary, I tell you what, let's give away one more. Let's give away something else.
You're going at it.
Yeah, let's go, man. Why not? You know, got our good friend Gene here. Let's make it.
Got to already halfway through the show.
Got plastic and steel.
High octane baits is back on the menu again. Anybody out there hungry? Look at that beautiful thing. Is that buzz bait?
No.
Which one's that? I can't see because your hand's covering it. Is that the? Oh, that's the one with whatever you want to call that. That's that little V blade there. Yeah. So yeah, that's a nice bait. You think about, what do you want him to say, Gary?
I don't know.
Give me the
high
juice.
Octane. Yeah, high octane.
High octane. High octane in the comments. You can have that bait right there. All right, now that we're talking about baits, here recently in the Blackwater, the lures that have been using the best are, of course, boom, Eddie's favorite. As he would fly to the screen.
My go-to, man.
This is the Elastics. It's called the Dart Spin. Okay, and we have several models of that here at the store. This thing is absolutely amazing. Everybody asks me, is it durable? Absolutely, it's durable. You can pull it all day long. I can't break it.
Tastes good too.
Yeah, a little salty, but it's been a great bait, I can tell you that. What else has been working good here for the folks here in the Blackwater? Well, of course,
not much this week.
Mepps.
Oh, yeah, always.
So we've been catching a lot on some Mepps. I've been talking to the guys with that. And then I know that Kyle has been doing some damage with the Booyah Pad Crasher. And a bait that's been doing really good this week is back at the live target field mouse. So don't be afraid.
Now, when you say doing good, I think you should put an asterisk there.
Okay.
Doing better than anything else in the low water.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna be seeing 100 fish, but you're
No,
at least
not
get
right now.
some reaction. You're at least gonna get some blow ups and some stuff like that. So there's a couple baits to check out. I do know that we are restocked here in the store with the
Yes,
Channidae
just
custom
got them
baits.
in.
Got them from Brady today, so they're back in. So get them here as soon as you want. I know Corey at Madison Campground wanted some for the little boy Chase, so we'll get a couple for him. So let's talk about baits, Gene. What do you like to fish with? I mean, what kind of lures do you like? Let's talk about your setup. What kind of rod you got? What kind of reel you got? I mean,
Don't mind him, Gene. He likes to interrupt everybody.
what are you recommending for down there in the Nanticoke if I want to go fishing?
Chatterbait, spinnerbait. I'd like to fish a jig.
Would you fish when we were out? You were spinnerbait, weren't you?
No, chatterbait.
Was it chatterbait?
Yeah, because we were trying some
Smoked
more natural colors, and the water was a little dark, but I went to the white and they just fired them up.
Man.
Yeah, you had a good afternoon.
Any particular brands that you like? Any particular maker that you like over anybody else? God, answer that question before I fire the next one.
Well, I don't know. I make a lot of my own spinnerbaits and jigs, so I use a lot of.
Are you a St. Croix guy or are you a Shakespeare guy?
No, I just pick something with a good action. I'm not really
He's a
high
cornflower
dollar.
fisherman.
Yes, he's a cornflower. Says he got the 999
Yeah.
pre-rig ready to go. No, I'm just kidding. Not that bad. You're talking about jigs. Are you talking about jigging pigs?
Yeah.
That has kind of faded away a lot. Have you noticed that? Like a lot of guys aren't throwing them anymore as much as they used to back in the day. And I'll tell you what, these new guys and these new young bucks, I mean, they really need to be introduced to the jigging pig,
It's amazing. Like in the early 90s when I got into the fishing club, we would fish the Chickamaucomico and the Transquakin quite a bit. But the Chickamaucomico before the mid 2000s when the pads died out, what a great spinnerbait and jig river. If it was raining, that's where I wanted to be there. And you guys talk about Sika deer sometimes too, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, somewhere around 2000, I went there, and I had never.
For everybody that knows, Gene's not much of a hunter, so.
Wow. I went there about mid-river, where there's a big bay that opens up. Foggy fall morning.
Oh, you heard your first bugle, didn't
Nobody else on the river, quiet as could be. And when that thing bugled, it sounded like it was in the boat with me.
Yeah, man.
That was like make the hair on the back of your neck stand
you?
out.
I love hearing people's first bugle stories as much as I love hearing about their fish stories. That's the first time you hear a Sika bugle, you never forget it. It is just fantastic.
Yeah,
I just could not believe how loud it was.
yeah, they're pretty loud.
I know for me, my first Sika bugle, I thought somebody was in trouble in the woods yelling for help. That's really what I thought. Like they were whistling or that sounded to me like somebody was screaming. Back when I first started, we all carried walkie-talkies, so we could talk to each other in the tree stand. I remember I said to Wayne, like, Wayne, did you hear that? He's like, what? I was like, that lady's screaming. He's like, what lady screaming? I was like, I don't know, but she needs help. There, she's yelling again. And he goes, it's a Sika deer, you dumbass. So I didn't know either, But the hair on your back stand up thing, yeah, man, you're right, because it wasn't even light yet, and I'm like, oh man, dude, something spooky's going on, So you're not into hunting. You never got into that, huh?
I did a little bit early, but it just wasn't my thing.
I kind of was the same way. I kind of was into hunting real hard in the beginning, and then it just, not that it faded out. I don't have the time for it like I used to anymore, And I know it's kind of like you, Eddie, with the store. You don't get to do much like you used to. The only person who's really getting to do much is Gary because he's got the retirement thing going on. So.
Gary's fishing and hunting like he never has
Enjoy
before.
your youth. Trust me.
So in your bass tournament, are you quite the threat to the guys? I mean, who's the man in the tournament? I mean, are you up there with them or what?
I start off strong in the spring, better spring fisherman. When the summer comes and the fall, I struggle a little bit to find them. They're more predictable in the spring. I mean, I finish kind of, up closer to the front, but I'm never top guy. But it's one of those things. You try to learn to adjust.
That's it.
And that's something I've worked on the past couple of years, like when I was fishing with Gary.
You were top guy that day.
We just, you just gotta change up. You gotta be thinking, And I've been very fortunate. I fished with a lot of really good fishermen from like the Delaware Bass Federation and all that. And you pick up a lot, and some people are very generous to show you things. And
Are you one of those guys that's protecting your area, or are you one of those guys that is willing to help the new guy?
willing to help.
Yeah.
I just don't.
That's how we got together.
That's the old school mentality, though. You know what I mean? Like the old school mentality was, if somebody asked where you caught it, I mean, I never really hesitated to help somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's good.
What's your favorite fish to catch?
That's what I was.
Or fish for, rather.
Bass, but crappie is a strong second.
So let me ask you this, okay? Being that I meant to ask you this when we were talking about the snakeheads down where you fish at. So, being that you're a crappie guy, what have you seen in your crappie fishing with the introduction of snakeheads to the areas that you're fishing?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't had enough time to go crappie fishing here lately, so I
Crappie,
couldn't really give.
crappie. Can you hear the accent? Crappie. I love it.
So did I. I couldn't really give you a good one on that. Mainly when I go crappie fishing, it's my buddy's pond.
Oh, okay. I got you. I know I was talking to some guys down there. I didn't know if you were one of them guys. They were telling me about in Salisbury in February, somewhere down there in the marinas, or where there were, I don't know, some 17-foot hole or something at a marina. They dropped down a top and bottom rig with 2 darts on it, and they just jigged that on the bottom in Salisbury somewhere and smoked these big crappie. I know Wayne and my cousin Ricky, they went down there and they got on them a couple times this past winter. So I didn't know if you did any of that down there.
I did it in the past. And yeah, they're up in town. It can be really good.
They say there's some big crappie in there, man, like 16 inches, man, like big ones. Wow. So being that you fish Pocomoke has a lot of crappie too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the things that guys tell me. They're always bass fishing over there. Like, man, look at this crappie. I call them spinnerbait bass fishing, big 2-pounder. So
love that river.
Pickerel wise, you target pickerel much? You fish any of the ponds down in Salisbury, Johnson's Pond, and any of them places at all? You put your boat in there at all?
Leonard's.
Yeah, Leonard's?
Johnson's, yeah.
I like Johnson's a lot. Johnson's is a fun pond for me anyway. Have you fished any tournaments outside of Maryland, or you just pretty much fish here?
Fished a regional one time.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Tough fishing. It was, caught
where was it?
one fish. Bugs Island, Lake Kerr.
Gaston, that whole
that flows into Gaston.
Yeah. I fished down there a couple times. That's a tough place to fish. I did.
It's a big impoundment.
I'll tell you, everybody wants to make it big in the fishing world. Everybody wants to be that guy, and I think that we all learn a hard lesson. Most of us, when we go and we fish like these regionals, like you're talking about, you get paired with somebody as a non-boater. It's really tough. It is really, really tough. So I think just the opportunity of experiencing that and going to a different area and getting to live that a couple times, which I've got to do a few times too. I think that's a lot of fun. But I think that a lot of these guys that think they're going to make it big as a professional fisherman, a lot of them, some of them will, but the bulk of them aren't. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I've always considered it an opportunity to, when there's something to take advantage of or check out a new place, I always want to do that. Do you do any kind of fishing? Like, do you travel anywhere like up north for anything? You guys do anything like that with your club or by yourself? Or
no, sometimes we'll have like club trips, and we it was in Bassmaster magazine, and there's a place down in North Carolina called Falls Lake, and we would go there every year in March. But boy, sometimes the weather wouldn't cooperate. But when you hit it right, it was awesome.
What? Let me ask you this: What's your biggest bass you've ever caught?
Probably a little over 6, maybe 6.5.
What's your biggest snakehead you've ever caught?
Gary can tell you. 31.5 inches. Yeah.
How many pounds? Any idea?
Scale said 7, didn't it?
Yeah.
7. So you're only a little over a pound over your biggest bass. So you got to make up some ground on that. You need a 12-pounder or a 13-pound snakehead on your dog.
We didn't get him on the
how many people did I take out fishing catch their biggest one? Eddie?
Me.
Yeah.
Yep. So, have you fished any snakehead tournaments yet?
No.
Well, we know of a couple coming up later this year if you want to try them out.
Okay.
So. Maybe while we're talking about that, you want to talk about the Snakehead Club real quick?
You want to go to the club first or tournaments first?
Let's go to the club real quick and talk about that. So we're going to have our first meeting. You go ahead.
Yeah, we've got our first meeting coming up Wednesday the 19th. It's going to be at the American Legion here in Cambridge. We'll have signups at the door. I'm going to have online signups as well. That should be set up within the next 48-ish hours. So if you want to sign up online and meet us there, that's fine too. Or you can just sign up at the door. We'll do it either way. That's our next giveaway, Kaz. Why you spoiling the surprise?
No. Remember, if they join the club. Oh, I'm sorry. If they join the club.
Yeah, go ahead and tell them that.
Okay, so we've talked to Leroy a little bit, because we know he has the kids thing going on, and we want to invite some kids into our Snakehead Club too. So the way we're going to do it with the kids in our club, if the parents sign up, then the kid is in the club for free. Am I correct with that statement?
If the kid is
in Leroy's Snakehead kids group.
If you're part of Leroy's Snakehead kids group and you join the club,
so it doesn't have to be both parents. And if you got 10 kids, then you hit the lottery.
you went out big.
So if you're a member of Leroy's Snakehead's Family Fun Fishing group, if the kid wants to join our group as well, the parent can join the kids in for free on that. So for sure, and then but it's $50 to enter for everybody else, or for the parents of anybody in Leroy's group. It's $50 to enter, and so the way we wanted to set it up so that you get something if you're in all of our tournaments and you're in the club as well. So what we did was we told you guys if you're in the club and you want to, or if you fish all 4 tournaments, you're in the club for free, and we're still going to do that. The way it's working out money wise is we'll probably just let you into the. We'll have your entry fee into the last tournament for free on that one, not including Calcuttas, of course, because the way I couldn't get all the online signups to sync into one program, and so what I did was we just have you sign up here for the Snakehead Club, and we'll have you your last tournament for free, and that way it's just easier on the back end for that kind of stuff.
And part of being in the club, we'll have special guests.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's talk about discounts for club members. We were talking a little bit about doing something like that, too.
Yep. So members, when you join the Snakehead Club, the Snakehead Life Fishing Club, you're going to get a hat, you're going to get a sticker, you're going to get a membership ID card. You bring that membership ID card here in the Woolford store, and we give you 10% off all your fishing tackle here at the store. We're also going to have door prizes at each meeting. We got a pretty good amount of door prizes for this one. Why don't you tell them a little bit, Gary?
Want to tell them what they are?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, we have a rod, which was donated by CCA.
Yep.
It's a great rod. We have some of our Snakehead destroyers that we're going to give away.
Baits.
What else? A couple other things here. I had them written down. Hold on a second.
You need your glasses, Gary?
Yeah, I do. Need them for everything. Can't see with them and can't see without them.
I heard we might be giving away a fishing trip, too.
Yeah,
a free Snakehead
exactly
guide.
What it was. Yeah,
I heard something about that. I'm not sure.
If I remember what day it'll be. I'm gonna donate a fishing trip.
Yep. And then I've also donated
that on Blackwater fishing for Snakeheads.
Yep. So we'll be giving that away during the Snakehead Club meeting, and I'm also donating lunch for 2 here at the Woolford store. Yep. So that'll be fun.
I thought that was a pretty good deal for that one, lunch for 2. So it could either be your boyfriend you're kayaking with for that day, or it could be your girlfriend in real life that you're coming down here to enjoy a nice laid-back lunch in the Woolford store, right?
Could be your buddy Gary, too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it could be. Never know.
We're also going to have guest speakers. We're going to keep it light for the first meeting because a lot of this first meeting stuff is going to be introductory stuff. We want to get to know you, get to know what you want out of this and everything. But we're going to have Jim Thompson there talking about the biology of snakeheads for sure. I mean, who doesn't love that stuff?
Right.
Just always learning about snakeheads.
And he's pretty knowledgeable because he's done a lot of
stuff.
sampling and he's very involved with that. So that's
the more you know about the biology of snakeheads, the better you are at catching them. Because that just gives you more tips for catching them. And we're talking with Tom. Go ahead and say it, Gary.
Malazewski.
Yeah, give me that $1.
That's how I say it, Tom.
So Tom's going to be there as one of our guest speakers as well. Since he won the first tournament, he wants to talk a little bit about tactics and things like that. So we're going to see you guys out there at the American Legion here in Cambridge on Route 50, Wednesday, May 19th at 7 p.m. Like I said, we might be.
We'll have food available there too.
Yeah,
if you want something to eat. Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna have the American Legion will have food there for you to purchase from them there. But we'll see you there at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. So, you want to talk about tournaments too, or we'll save that for later?
No, let's go ahead and talk about tournaments while we're on that. But meanwhile, let's. Do you want to go ahead and give away a hat for Leroy? We'll give away a hat. Okay, so if you want this hat from Leroy, remember if you're a member of the Snakehead Family Fun Fishing page, that if you join, that your kids can be in there for free. So
that's a good hat.
That's a pretty hat.
What do you have to say to get the hat?
I don't know. Let's say CCA rocks because CCA donated that, right?
Yeah, that's a great idea. CCA rocks.
CCA rocks.
Yep, I like it. So CCA rocks, and the first one to get it wins the hat. So.
And let's go ahead and talk about tournaments.
Why don't you talk about the tournaments while I get the winner for the?
Okay. Okay, so the tournaments we got coming up, our next dates for the tournaments are
June
June 19th. So June 19th is our next tournament coming up. Let's talk about our sponsors. Our sponsors for our tournament, our headliner sponsor is Angler Sports Center. We've got the CCA Maryland, the great invasive catch. You can sign up for that and record your catch. You got Bassrack Outdoors, got Horseman Enterprises. You got the Land Group, Rob Fryer. You got the Bait Boyz, Damian Tall. We got Roy Bradshaw's Towing Body Shop. So if you're stuck down here, make sure you call Roy to get yourself out of the ditch. Hopefully you're not trespassing. We got the Woolford store. We've got Me the Crab Stand. We've got Denton Rod Tackle. Nonthaburi Channidae Custom Baits. Autumn Sky Outfitters. Old School Tackle. Blue Oyster Environmental. And Chris Leslie over at BigBassUSA.com. Remember, if you break the state or world record in this tournament, Chris Leslie at BigBassUSA.com is going to give you a pedal kayak. That's what you're going to get for that.
That's right. And don't forget, we also have the tournament's $50 to enter, and like Kaz said, it's June 19th. We also have Calcuttas for $10 each. Heaviest of the tournament, which is sponsored by Bassrack Outdoors. The longest of the tournament, sponsored by Horseman Enterprises. The most harvested, which is sponsored by the Land Group. And the heaviest of the year, which currently Tom Malcheski is leading with 5.7 pounds, and that is sponsored by the Bait Boyz. And as always, Kids Fish for Free, sponsored by Roy Bradshaw.
Yeah, and remember that. So if you've got kids, you can sign your kids up in this tournament for free. It doesn't cost anything at all, and the prizes are amazing. And since we didn't have any kids in the last tournament, we're going to roll that prize forward into this next tournament. So this next tournament will be like a double whammy for the kids on this upcoming tournament. You know what I mean? So what else, Eddie? We got the tournament. We've got the club. I think that's about pretty much everything we've got going on here.
We've got our Angler Spotlight of the Week.
Mepps Angler of the Week.
That is going to be Bart Shortall. Bart, how you doing today, buddy?
Man, that is a hell of a fish,
That's
man.
a nice
That's
fish,
beast,
Bart.
man.
That's a real nice fish. I saw that on Snakehead Life the other day, and I said, that's got to be our Angler of the Week right there.
That's the string man.
I'll tell you what,
right.
they've been putting
For those of you who don't know, Bart makes bowstrings, and he does a really good job of it. Really good. He's been doing it for a long time. Does a real good job.
I tell you what, there hasn't been a ton of pictures posted, but the pictures that have been posted have been some really pretty fish. I mean, just healthy fish, So we know they're eating good. We know that that we eat good when we catch them. So come and catch a few and help us get some out of here. I think.
Let me announce our winners of our giveaways so far real quick.
Okay, go do that.
So the first shirt was Justin Airing won that one. The CCA tape measure went to let me make sure I say this right. Michael Gertler. Is that how Michael Gertler? Sorry if I'm butchering that, Michael. The high octane bait went to Patrick McCabe. And the hat just went to Paul Barriger.
So how many prizes did that we already gave away?
That was 4 right there.
That was 4. Let's give away something else, Gary. What else you got down there in that bag? Got anything down there in that bag we can give away?
A CCA cup.
Oh, look at
That's
that
a
pretty
nice
thing.
I've got one of these. It worked great.
Hey, breaking news! Tom Malsuski. Let me pay my $1 too. Yep. He just texted back, said he will be there Wednesday night. So awesome. That's good. So we'll have him there Wednesday night too. So thank you, Tommy. Thank you. People are asking about where Y Mill Spillway is. Use Google and find it. You can find it that way. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't have directions to it. I just know how to get there. So.
What do you got to say for the cup?
Cup says from 1995 to 2020. 1995 to 2020.
95 to 2020. There you go. 25 years, baby.
25 years. So what do you want to say?
That's what we 1995 to 2020.
Okay.
Welcome to the conversation, Kaz.
I'm trying to multitask over here and do 20 things, so I'm sorry.
At least we know you're not going to win it.
That's right.
What was it again?
Oh, man.
Oh, God. So Gene, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you might want to talk about down there? Anything that you can feel might want to say?
Well, our club is having a Toys for Tots tournament on the Pocomoke at Bird Park. I believe it's June 26th.
So June 26th, Bird Park, Pocomoke River. What's entry fee?
I believe
50?
it's like $50 or $60.
Okay, probably 50 and a $10 lunker or something like that.
Bring a toy and your entry fee, and the Marine Corps Toys for Tots will get all the.
If you can do me a favor and get me some information for that, I'll be happy to put it on the platforms and get the word out there for you and help you get that plug so that we can get some toys. That's something that we definitely want to help out with. And
I guess the only other thing is just how many people these snakeheads affect. I mean, if you're a waterfowler, if you're a waterman, if you're with the Audubon Society and you come out here and you want to go kayak and see things, I just believe that harvest will help control, the population of them. I mean, you're not going to get rid of them. And you guys have said that before.
Yeah.
It's just too good of habitat for them.
And another thing too, before I forget, the Snakehead Club is open to everybody.
That's right. Yeah.
We forgot to mention that. It
It's not
doesn't matter
not just for harvest guys
what
or
you
release
feel
guys.
or
If
what
you
you're
like snakeheads, fishing for snakeheads,
Yeah,
join the club. We're gonna have a lot of fun with
This
it.
isn't going to be a thing where we're talking about who's killing what, who's letting go. We don't care. I don't care what anybody does. We just want to bring the community together.
We will always promote harvest as one of our mantras, but we're not going to shove it down your throat for this club. We want everybody who loves snakehead fishing to be in this club and just enjoy a good time together, and that's the main thing about it.
I think that's the biggest thing is we are trying to bring the community together.
That's right. What do you always say, Kaz?
I don't know. They can't always be fun. You don't know if you don't go.
Gene said something a minute ago, which is spot on. It just doesn't affect fishing.
Exactly.
And I'm surprised that there's a name for it, and I would have not a clue what it is. But people who study reptiles, amphibians,
herpetologists.
Okay, why some of them haven't gotten down here and started checking this out, because it has decimated the bullfrogs. Yep. And the small turtles.
Not everybody understands the entire butterfly effect that these snakeheads have had on the entire ecosystem, for sure.
And I'm just going to say this. Bob Rinker, if you're out there, okay.
How do you know everybody in every industry ever?
Well, this is the thing. So when I was a kid, okay, not to get into it, but I wasn't.
How long were you a kid?
I still am, dude. I mean, that's not going to change. But really, when I was young, my parents tried to find things to get me into because I was so ADD, hyper, no meant yes. I was that kid, So my parents thought that if they got me involved with some peer groups and some things like that, that maybe that would help me not be so rough around the edges, let's say. And when I was,
I'm sorry, it didn't work.
I know, right? Thanks, Mom. When I was, I want to say 11 or 12 years old, maybe it was 16. I forget. I was on probation. I know that. And my probation officer, the deal with probation was I had to find a community group to get involved with to volunteer at. So my mom knew, that I was really into snakes, and I would always catch them out back and turtles and things like that. So I was introduced to a guy named Bob Rinker. And Bob Rinker, he was really big into herpetology and collecting snakes and doing things like that. He took me on some finds for copperheads in the dens in the winter, and he taught me a lot of cool stuff. So Bob Rinker, if you're out there, I don't know who I would reach out to in the industry. Bob Chance, maybe. If you're out there and know anybody that we might reach out to, let me know. But if there's any reptile amphibian people that might be interested in doing some survey work or anything like that, we've got some areas that we'd like to look at and do a little investigating in. I know you do, Gary. And we would be willing to help you out, maybe with some lodging or some fishing or something like that, if you would be willing to help us with some surveys. So just something to think about. I know, Gary, you've been really big about that. I know you've got one of the coolest bullfrogs in the world that lives out in front of your house. I know that. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've got one in, and I've got two driveways, one to my shop and one to the house. And I've got one on each side of each driveway.
Now, before we also forget, we've got the Upper Bay Snakehead Tournament coming up. That's August the 14th, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
so,
I believe so
there are flyers out for that. You can reach out to Scott Soule for the boating division. You can reach out to Roy Boyd if you want to get involved in the kayak side. The kayaks will be going out of Mariner Point Park, and the boats will be going out of Flying Point Park Marina in Edgewood. So boats will be launched out of the Bush River. Kayaks will be launched out of the Gunpowder. I believe it's 50 kayaks and 50 boats,
Maximum,
I think something like that. But you just have to double check that. We got so much going on. It's hard to keep up with what numbers go with what tournament. So we do also see some other tournaments going out there. So all you guys out there fishing these other ones, good luck this weekend. If you got something going on, I know Darryl Willie's got his thing going on or something this weekend. So you guys get out there and be safe and just put it to it, and let's see some big fish. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
What else? Anything else?
That's all I got. My list is checked off completely.
All right.
The winner of the cup was Timothy Moorer.
Kapow! my list is all done too.
Oh, we got one more. One more to give away here.
So one more shirt here from Leroy. Okay. Yep. And again, remember this.
This is a kid's shirt.
Yes.
And
so if you've got a kid and you want that for your kid, and your kid loves snakehead fishing and all that jazz.
Yep. What do they got to say?
I don't know.
I think
Gene, why don't you think of something, Gene? Gene, what do you want him to say?
Dragon.
Dragon. There you
Dragon.
go.
There you go.
Kids
Dragon.
medium.
Dragon.
Kids medium.
Yep.
For the Dragon shirt.
There we go.
I'm just trying to see here real quick. Snakehead. Okay, so again, if you're a member of the Snakehead Fun Family Kids Fishing page over there with Leroy, and you sign up for the snakeheadclub.com, your kids get free membership to the club. So they get all the same benefits that you do, plus they get the door prizes and things like that too. So I don't know. I can't think anything else. I think this is a pretty good show.
One thing we didn't mention.
Go ahead.
CCA.
Yep, the Great Invasive Count.
Well, the Great Invasive Count, but also at our tournament, we had Toby Fry here signing up people to CCA, and they gave away a pair of Coast sunglasses, which they're going to do at every tournament.
3 more times.
3 more times.
Wow.
If you signed up that day or doing any tournament or during our the fishing club, that enters you in that drawing.
Yep.
For
But you got
each time.
You've got to be present, if I remember right. You got to be present at the tournament for the drawing. Was that correct, or am I wrong?
I don't think you had to be present.
Okay.
I don't think so.
But yeah, but you'll be entered into the drawing for the sunglasses, and we draw those one at each tournament. So
right.
And that's I'm glad you
So
brought
you're
that up.
not just if you sign up now, you're not just in one drawing. You're in 3.
You're in all 4 of them. Yep. Or all 3. Yeah, we already done the one.
I'll tell you what, man, we got a lot going on.
A lot going on.
And we got some changes coming here. You'll have bait here at the store soon.
As soon as I finish remodeling, it's
great
a
organization.
long, drawn out process. Yeah.
Great organization, great sunglasses.
Yep.
I mean, just look at the amount of stuff they gave us to give away: the cups,
my
the tape measures, the hook, the rod. I mean, look at what they did for Leroy. I mean, all those hats. You know what I mean?
Dave has been doing a lot of good stuff.
Dave is just a stand-up dude. I don't
even say anything about the bait cooler.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The CCA.
Lark won the bait cooler, wasn't it? Was it Lark Creel?
Lark Creel, yes.
So Lark got the bait cooler, and Lark, I hope that you've enjoyed that cooler. I hope it's working out for you. And that was just absolutely, that was Engel. It was just beautiful.
Yep, beautiful.
I mean, I couldn't believe the quality of it. You know, it was really top notch. And I put some stickers on it. You know, so it would look good for Dave anyway. So, anything else?
That's all I got, and we're at the 1 hour mark. So I think that's going to wrap it up for us.
Gene, anything else?
Sing.
I did want to go back to one thing. You asked me about bait. Going back to old school. Yeah, and I kind of drew a blank earlier, but 4-inch ringworm is like one of my favorite baits out there, and I found a good source. Venom lures that is just a fantastic.
So you're
bait.
talking about 4-inch ringworms. Now, back in '92, there was a company called Ketchum. Ketchum Lures had Mike Holliday. So I worked for him.
I have a few of those.
I worked for him at his place in Bel Air.
Fat Bob.
Yep, Fat Bob's, all that. Yep, and I still got boxes of them. Pugsley, I know you still got boxes of them out there too. I know for sure you do. We were just talking about Mike the other day. I don't know if you know about Mike, but the company, you know, I'm not sure what happened, but he wound up taking his own life. You know, I did hear that.
Sorry,
you know, and that's what happened with the company. That's kind of why it folded up and went the way that it did. I'm not really sure what went on there. He had kind of backed away from everybody, you know, for like a couple of weeks and maybe a month, and we didn't know what was going on. And out of nowhere, got the call, you know, and unfortunately, it was very unfortunate. But, you know, I did get a lot of the baits that he had there, you know, because they didn't want them, you know, and I still have lots of the Fat Bobs and the ringworms and the white tails and remember all black with the white tail. That thing was hot, man.
You're gonna be that guy that they're gonna find your barn find. They're gonna find all these lures from back in the 60s and 70s, and they're all gonna have dog chew marks on them.
I was gonna say, all you gotta do is just go look in the shed right now. It's all right there right now.
I still got a few of the old Rebel ringworms. Now that is definitely going back.
I have a case of just nothing but old vintage lures, wooden balsa lures. I mean, the old stuff. One of my favorite lures, believe it or not, it's called a Little George.
Oh yeah,
and it was just a little tail spinner, right? Yeah,
the Mans. Yeah, they still make them. I
have another lure. It's called a Pico Perch. I don't know if you remember that, but it was an old metal crankbait. And I have tons of them. And it's had a metal lip. The body was metal itself, and the hooks were like, you know, treble hooks.
Sort of like a silver buddy.
Kind of like a silver buddy, but this had a lip and it actually dove, you know?
Oh, okay.
And then I've got these ones that are like this long and they're broken backs, and they've got this old, remember how the hula poppers, remember how the old tails used to be on there like they were like a ribbon? It wasn't like this. Yeah. You couldn't rip it with your finger. It was, I don't know what it was made of back then, like a vinyl or something. I've got these big swim baits from back in the day that are big bodied and have these vinyl tails on them that are like, I found them the other day. I was like, man, I never knew I had these things, man. We'll have to exchange numbers. I'll send you some pictures of some of the stuff I got. And it'll probably be like me and you, like kids in a candy store sending pictures back and forth for hours. I still have bags of patches. Back in the day, we didn't have embroidery. We had patches. You know, your sponsor gave you a patch, you sewed it on your shirt. It was like being in the Boy Scouts. You had all your little pins and all your little buttons, you know what I mean? But every sponsor gave you a patch. You put it on
I
your
can't
shirt,
imagine
you know?
you know too much about what the Boy Scouts do. That's not your bag.
When you
Well-
went to state parks, they had the same thing.
Believe it or not, I was in the Cub Scouts. I never made it to the Boy
I was
Scouts.
going to say, you didn't last very long there.
No.
Before I forget, TJ Henson, you won the kid's shirt.
All right, well, I know that we're at an hour and 5 minutes. Gene, I'm glad you came out today. We talked a
Absolutely.
little bit about down there, and thanks for being honest about
Had fun.
what you're
Thank
seeing, you know.
We appreciate you coming on, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that these shows keep getting a little better each week, I think.
I hope so.
I think
That's the goal anyway.
Information
That's right.
to help
Yeah.
people catch.
Yep.
and that's all we really want to do. I mean, it's
And
not,
look, you even get to hear Kaz sing live now when you're here.
yeah, and I mean, we're not millionaires like everybody thinks. I mean, I'm pretty broke, you know. So it ain't like we're setting the world on fire in the snakehead industry like everybody thinks. So there's a lot more to it than what we're doing. Being that you're talking about singing, let's go ahead and just keep it real with the folks this week. So our crab situation here is kind of, it's just been, these first couple weeks have just not been normal. I don't know how to explain it or describe it any other than that.
We talked
you
about
know?
it earlier. It's
Right.
an extended spring.
Right.
It's hard for us to get snakehead for the store. It's hard for you to get crabs right now.
Yeah.
It's the same situation across all bodies of water. It's
So our-
tough for the seafood industry right now.
And not just that, but add the shed. We've got a major shed going on right now. So a lot of the crabs are shedding out. And, you know, after talking with Mike and Riley today, looking at the amount of crabs we would need to open the doors and what we would get as far as quality crabs would be to sell to our customers, we've just opted not to open for tomorrow. We may try to open Saturday if we can find some crabs tomorrow that look good. But to give you an idea of how the catch was today, one of the crabbers that I get some crabs from, out of 5 crabbers, he had not even quite a whole bushel of lights, which is crabs coming off the shed, which, you know, they're easy to pick and they're very sweet, but they just don't have a lot of meat. And they didn't even have a half a bushel of ones between the 3 crabbers. So that'll give you an idea of what they're catching right now. And with numbers that low, I just can't see doing it. You know, it would be foolish for me to open the door to come up there and sell people big crabs that are light for big money, you know? So again, it's not about the money to me. It's about making sure that we're bringing our customers quality seafood products and fresh stuff. So that being said, tomorrow the crab stand will not be open. Just pay attention to the page and I'll let you know what Saturday's looking like if we get anything tomorrow. But realistically, the way these Maryland crabs are looking, you know, it's on 1 week, off 1 week, catch this day good, no catch for 4 days. So hopefully we get some stability, which it looks like that's coming in the weather. So we do have that to look forward to. So just simply bear with us at the crab stand. You know, I only deal in Maryland crabs. I don't want to be bringing in crabs that are 4 days old from other states or countries. You know, I want to make sure you're getting the best quality product from here on the Eastern Shore right off the boat to your throat. So no winners this week. You know, we're not going to pick anything because I don't know that we'll have anything to give away. So what we'll do is we'll just sing a crabby jingle, and if we get some crabs Saturday and Sunday, then I'll go ahead and I'll post a giveaway Saturday when we do that.
There you go.
That's the best way to keep it fair and to keep it real and to keep it honest. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody so far for everything that's going on. You know, we're really having a lot of fun, and we hope that you are too. And if there's anything that you think that we could do to make the podcast better, if you're interested in this club and you want to, you know, help us to form the club and you have ideas, I mean, we're open to anything, you know, discuss us what you're looking for. But with all that said, thanks for tuning in this week. Thanks for everything. And let's leave you with a little crabby jingle, even though we ain't got any crabs. How's that sound? My crabs, they don't have 3 first names because I don't have any. But if I did, it would be heavy, full, and fat. My crabs, they have a 4th name. Yes, it's absolutely mustard packed, but we don't have any, so I can squirt some French's in an empty shell if you want some. If you ask me where they're from, they're 100% guaranteed Maryland #1s. Gene, you want to take it from here? He's saying,
Not a chance.
At the crab stand, here's a fact I know for sure you're coming back. Kapow! Kapow! Leroy did a great job! Kapow!